that place. Even your emotion had an echo in so much space. And when you out there without care, I was out of touch. But it wasn't because I didn't know enough. I just knew too much. Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Does that make me crazy? Possibly. And I hope that you're having the time of your life. Think twice. That's my only advice. Oh, who do you think you are?
Hello, everybody. Thank you so much for taking the time out of your very busy schedule to spend a few moments with me here on SML TV. Now, I do realize that President Hichilema is on CNN. I think he's on CNN. And I also understand that many of you want to watch the news. So I will not keep you long. There's just something I need to share with you that I think is important. And I think that it would be irresponsible of me not to deal with this and to address it, and also, in a sense, to share it with you. As many of you know, yesterday I released a statement. When I say released a statement, I posted something about the president's daughter, President Lungu's daughter, who is Tasila Lungu. And before I say what I need to say here, I think it's important for you to have context. Me, like many other Zambians, has met Tasila Lungu. I've had 3 interactions with her. And I must confess to you that each and every one of those interactions were very pleasant, very cordial. I found her to be just a very warm person, someone that is very approachable. And I know that sounds cliche to many of you or to some of you, but I'm just telling you, I'm sharing with you my experience. Okay, so please don't knock that. But that was I walked away each time feeling like I had met a wonderful person, and she was, you know. And politics being what it is, sometimes I think as vloggers, and you know, when this happened, I was thinking to myself, we have to consistently learn this lesson. Sometimes as vloggers, we get excited, we get caught up in the moment. We say things that, in a sense, you know, after you say them, you sort of give yourself a moment of pause and ask yourself, wait a minute, was that worth it? Were you riding on the back of something? And so this, just to give you a brief background, to give you the backstory, I posted something yesterday titled "The President's Daughter," and of course I was quoting Crown TV, and then I gave my own opinion. I sort of gave my own twist to the story. The story was allegedly that Tasila Lungu had bought and purchased some bank. Some people say it's Access. Some people say it's Cavmont Bank, whichever bank it was. But I put in my 2 cents worth in there. And in the process, I did say some pretty heated things. And so this evening, I received a letter of demand from her lawyers. And in no uncertain terms, they made it very clear to me that, Mr. Muewa, you posted something that has hurt our client, and we're asking you, we are asking you to not only apologize for that defamatory statement, but we're asking you to retract it. Now, you know, when things like this happen, sometimes you sort of think to yourself, wait a minute, what's the greater good? But let me be honest with you, and I hope you don't misunderstand me. And I know many of you will misunderstand me, but this is my experience. All I'm doing is I'm sharing it with you. And it's this. Oftentimes, when you get letters of demand from lawyers, the natural instinct is to push back. The natural instinct is to say, no, I'm not going to do that. You know, but I'll be honest with you. The reason I have decided to do this is I sat in my office when I received the letter. In fact, here it is here. Where is it? Here. Here's the demand letter from a law firm called Makebi Zulu Advocates. I sat in my office, and as I was reading it, the only thing that kept on coming back to my mind was I started thinking about the first time I met Tasila. The first time I met Tasila Lungu was at the mayor's house. And she could not have been any nicer. I mean, honestly, she was. She was very, very pleasant to speak to, very approachable. And, you know, I stood there and I spoke to her for a few minutes, and, you know, she had this really bright smile, and you know, I liked her. I did. I thought she was a very nice person. And then I met her again 2 other times, and each one of those times, she was the same way. Very warm. I think I met her once at the, we were covering, as SML TV, we were covering one of the virtual rallies. I think it was one of the virtual rallies that we had been hired to cover. And she was there. And naturally, I walked up to her and I approached her. And I remember saying, it was one of those deals where, you know, people were singing, that the speeches were done and the choir were singing and people were dancing. And she was in the crowd and she had a face mask on. But because I recognized her when she first walked in, I knew who she was. And so I you know, in the midst of the dancing and the singing, I walked up to her, I approached her. And because it was so loud, I had to sort of, you know, scream in her ear. I said to her, I said, Tasila, when do I get to interview you? And she, you know, looked at me and she sort of nodded, like as if to say, with her eyes, as if to say, well, you know, we can do that. We need to work on that. Let's do that. You know, she didn't verbally say it, but she said it with her eyes because of the music. She said, you know, she sort of motioned to me and said, yeah, let's do that. And the last time I met her, I forget where it was, but again, it was the same thing. You know, she was very pleasant, very cordial. And as I was reading this demand letter, that is what was going through my mind, was that my experience with Tasila Lungu was a pleasant experience. Yes, we're all upset about certain things that were happening in the PF, and I have made it very clear about those things, you know, and I think many Zambians have made it clear about those things as well. And I would imagine it's not easy being the president's daughter. I would imagine that. And I don't mean to sound coy when I say that. And so I purely based on my 3 experiences with Tasila, I have decided to truly apologize to her. I don't know if you're watching this, Tasila. I don't. And I know what you're going through is, in a sense, I know is not easy. And of course, I don't say that to sound condescending. I say that because it comes from a real place in my heart, based purely on my interactions with you. I would imagine it's not easy going through what you're going through. But I really want you to know I truly apologize. And I'm sorry. I truly am sorry. Now, the thing about apologies on Facebook is that sometimes you don't always get it right. Someone somewhere is going to say something about the way I've apologized. So without drawing it out too long, let me just say, I apologize. And I'm truly, truly sorry for hurting you. Thank you. Good night.